operations for DigiPower. Danny Clown, site lead for DigiPower.
Here, project manager with DigiPower.
Okay, thank you for all our representatives. Hello. Okay. These are our representatives. If you have any questions and need to speak to them afterwards, please stay around. They'll be happy to answer questions. So we're going to get started. I would like to say thank you for being here tonight. I appreciate each of you coming out, taking the time. The fact that so many people are here tells me one thing very clearly, that you care deeply about this community, and that's something that I respect as your mayor. Tonight's meeting is about listening, sharing information, and having an open, honest conversation about the data center that is located on our industrial park. This is not a presentation meant to sell anything, and this is not the end of discussion. This is a chance for you to ask questions and hear directly from the company, from our city staff, and to better understand what this project means for Columbiana, both now and in the years to come. I want to say this up front. It is completely reasonable to have questions and concerns, whether those concerns involve water usage, power usage, traffic, jobs, noise, taxes, or long-term impact on our town. Every one of those questions deserves a clear answer. Most decisions related to this project were made before I became mayor, but what matters now is that we move forward together. My responsibility as mayor is to protect the interests of our residents, ensure transparency, and make sure that the city holds all partners accountable to the commitments they've made. Tonight you will hear from representatives from the data center, as well as our city staff. They will share what they can and also be honest about what they don't have control over. If a question can't be answered tonight, just know that we will make sure it's documented and we will follow up on it. Tonight is about listening and learning. Your voice matters. We are here to keep everyone informed, and collaboration will be key moving forward. We have, we have been holding open and honest work sessions with representatives from DigiPowerX. They have been open, informative, transparent, and willing to come in and answer questions as we move through this process together, and I appreciate that. Thank you. At this time, we have not discussed financial contracts, including abatements or other financial agreements. Those conversations will happen in the future. I do want the community to know that when those discussions occur, any decision made by this council will be guided by what's in the best interest of Columbiana. Our hope is that the company will make a meaningful commitment to invest in our community because their success contributes to our success. There are several things that I want to address that I know are very hot topics. Water and infrastructure. First, I want to reassure everyone about the security of our water system and address questions on how this project could affect any local aquifers. Phase 2 of this project will not use a water-based cooling system. Columbiana Water and the City of Columbiana do not have the infrastructure to support the water capacity originally requested, and that was discussed with DigiPowerX approximately 2 months ago. As a result, the facility will not use city water beyond what a typical standard commercial business will use. This data center will use a glycol-based cooling system to cool its servers. With respect to water usage and sewer capacity, those concerns are not an issue for this project. I do ask that we keep the conversations and questions respectful. Strong opinions are welcome, but we will make more progress by listening to one another and allowing everyone the opportunity to be heard. Before I begin, I want you to know this. My door is always open. This conversation doesn't end tonight when this meeting adjourns. There will be continued opportunities for updates, questions, accountability, and transparency. The format that we ask everyone to use tonight is simple and we think structured in a way that will make this meeting run smoothly. We ask that anyone with a question step up to the podium, state your name, the city you live in, and ask your question. We ask that people not repeat questions and do not make just comments. This is not a time for presentations, but questions from our citizens. These questions will be limited to 3 minutes. Noah with the Shelby County Reporter has been kind enough to be our timekeeper tonight, and so if you are at the podium and you start to go over, he may give you a gentle tap. So please just try to respect the 3-minute time limit. After you ask your question, we will take the microphone to the appropriate representative for the question. I request that the first hour be limited to our Columbiana citizens, as this is in the Columbiana city limits. This directly affects our citizens first, and then we will happily open the floor to any other residents and local people that are interested as well. If time allows, we will open the floor to anyone. Again, thank you for being here. Thank you for caring for Columbiana. This is our community. You know, we all are invested here, and this is important, and I thank you for all of your time. So with that being said, we did have some questions that were submitted prior to tonight's town hall, and we have a list of those questions, but we're going to save those until the end. Because we feel like some people that come to the podium will ask those questions and we will just check them off. If there are questions that were submitted prior to the meeting that haven't been answered, Charlene or I will ask those questions. So, with that being said, would anyone like to raise their hand and be the first person from Columbiana to ask their question? Absolutely. Step up to the podium and state your name, please.
My name is Desiree Maples, and I have lived in this lovely town for 6 years now, and it is amazing. Can you not hear me? Oh, sorry. I don't think is this working?
Yes.
Oh, so sorry about that. Okay. So anyway, my name is Desiree Maples. I've lived in Columbiana for 6 years. This is a great, amazing town, and I want to know why you're choosing to move here and not to like Mountain Brook or Vestavia or Hoover. That's all. Thank you.
Well, there's many facets to your question. As a company, for what we're doing, we look at a multitude of items. One, power, interconnections, see if there's enough power to supply what we're trying to do. And we also look at where we are in an industrial area, and we found that site that suits our needs for power, and it's also a site that needed to be cleaned up. And it works out perfect. We like the small communities. We do like to integrate ourselves in the community and support the community. So it's a good fit for us. And we look all over the place in many different states, and we find the best avenue that fits our business plan.
Next question. If you would just stand on the other side of the podium, and it's all right.
That's okay. I'm Lauren, and I've lived. Oh, thank you. Sorry. My name is Lauren Harmon, and I've lived here for how long have we lived? 20 years or so. But I wanted to piggyback off what you just said about integrating into the community, and wondered exactly, like, I know that a lot of your representatives are not going to be local. I don't know how many representatives will be local, so I wondered how will the company be integrating into the community?
So Eddie here is local, and he's gonna be the main contact. And then going forward with that, we are hoping, or we've already talked with the mayor and the council about supporting the community and training and keeping schooling so we can actually keep the local people here on our site and employed. So, that could be leading to opening up a training center specifically for what we're doing and getting these younger kids in here and start teaching them and eventually hiring them so they stay here locally, as well as supporting the community and other needs as well.
Can they stand up while they're talking? They're fine.
Stand up if you get. Sure. Do we have any questions for our water board or the sewer department or anything like that? Okay. Yes, ma'am, you're welcome to come up.
I just wanted to know, you talk about like integrating into the community, but usually these places don't provide any jobs. There's barely a dozen jobs at some of these places. And people complain about the noise. Are we gonna have to hear this? Are we gonna, it's right in town. So I'm just curious, how many jobs is this gonna be? You talk about training the lower, well, what about the rest of us?
So, the idea, we can't make people work for us that are local. And our intent right now, the way the project is lining up, is that there's going to be, by the time the full project is done, could be anywhere from 40 to 70 people working for us. That's gonna be security round the clock. It's going to be maintenance, electricians, mechanics. It's gonna be IT technicians. So, I'm not sure, one of the things that I'll just tell you, and that's actually why we're here, is the fact that, when you guys Google everything, it's very broad. And when you talk about data centers, there could be 20 different styles. And that's why we're here, is to try to explain to you what we are and what we're doing. So we are in an industrial area, and you will not hear any more noise that is typical of an industrial area. We are using liquid-cooled servers, so you're not gonna hear all the fans that you see have a bad rap everywhere else. And this is a huge investment for the company. By the time we're done, it will be over $200 million. And that is showing you the commitment that we have to making sure that we are integrated in the community, because we're not going anywhere for spending all that kind of money. And we wanna make sure that it's gonna be good for everybody.
I would like to say something too. I actually today went out and walked the job site with the DigiHost representatives to see what it looks like, where phase 1 is, where phase 2 will be. There's pictures back there. We have some other pictures and things like this. I do want to make it known that the piece of property on Industrial Road is zoned for manufacturing. There was already currently, well, it wasn't in operation now, but it was a foundry at one point. So that foundry used a lot of water and a lot of power. After it went out of business, it became the Bitcoin facility, and then now they have pivoted into a data center. So where they're located meets our zoning requirements. So they're in an industrial part of our city that was dedicated for industrial development. Business license, they met all of the criteria for a business license in Columbiana. Legally, you can't put restrictions on a business license. So I do want to make some of those things very clear, that This isn't going in a subdivision, this isn't going in a part of town that is not zoned for manufacturing. So, they are taking an existing site and adding value to it. Even though we don't know some of the things, that data centers bring a lot of uncertainties, but I'm hoping that this will be a collaboration between the company and the city to work on some community projects. That's where I do want everyone to know that legally they're in the right spot. They have met all of the criteria for a business license. And we will go to the next question, sir.
Hi, my name is Philip Dudley. I've lived here my entire life, 33 years. I was born on the corner of West Sterrett Street and Collins Street here in town. So data centers have a pretty solid track record of plummeting property values. It's very well reported throughout the country. People move out, businesses move out, they suck up tax subsidies, all our resources. You say you're investing over $200 million. How does that help us, especially in the case of, you're saying 12 to 40 employees, our population, it doesn't seem like a fair trade-off, especially if you are getting tax subsidies involved. So how is this going to better the community as a whole?
Well, at the end of the day, any business that does decide to develop in the community does get tax revenue from the building itself, property value and stuff. So I can't speak to decreasing property values. We are in the industrial area, so maybe Lisa can speak to if she knows any of that. I don't know. We're creating the value, right? We're gonna be investing in training centers. There's gonna be value in there. We're investing in the community and training in the kids and the schools. So we feel that we create a lot of value and we're willing to come here to produce that. We already cleaned up a site that was a very big eyesore and we've demolished half of the building that was falling apart. We've cleaned up the whole area, we put in nice fencing, we put in shrubs. So we are working to make it look a lot nicer than it was.
I'm Karen Johnson. I've been here 25 years. I'm president of Lele Homeowners and Boat Owners Association. We are concerned about water. And my researchers know that you're having difficulties in Tonawanda, New York, being sued by the community. So of course we're a little concerned, so we had to do some due diligence. And I understand, and I know the town was really upset about the noise. It was pretty awful, and I'm sorry for your being sued. But, well, maybe not too sorry. Back to the point, all right. So on the glycol, we've already got in my lake, and there are 4 counties around it, we already have toxic material, and we've asked Alabama Power to move their site, and we won that suit, and then somebody up in Washington changed the rules. So back to so you're gonna use a different system. You're gonna use glycol to cool, for your coolant, instead of all of our water that we treasured. But when we look at glycol, I'm an old Spanish teacher, so this is hard. When we use this glycol, it is toxic. And so if it leaks into the water, gets into our sewer system that I know you want to build, or you want us to build, then people get sick. And strangely, our junior high school must be in the industrial area. I don't know how that happened, and but they are, and they're pretty wonderful. Mr. Whitfield here, he coaches cross-country and he does the Scholars Bowls. So when you're thinking of donating money to get what do they call non-agreement? Anyway, those kinds of things. Not that our mayor would never do
Your
that.
time is about to expire,
Oh,
so what is your
okay.
question?
Okay.
I just want you to get your
I want to
question.
know about the glycol.
Okay.
It has to be monitored, it has to be professional people. Are you gonna bring in these people to watch the glycol? Because if it gets down into our water system, we're gonna be pretty sick.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I'll take that question.
Thank you.
Let's look at this picture over here.
Yeah, let's just take a look at this picture over here. These are modular systems, meaning this is the air conditioning system, and the glycol runs into, so let's say these two units. The glycol is a closed loop, meaning there's no exposure to the atmosphere. The system will be monitored by a company like Trane, Honeywell, at all points in the system, such that if there's this failure in the system, they will know wherever they're monitoring from. Usually Atlanta, they'll dispatch a service person, probably in your community, to go out here and check on it. But the glycol system is not exposed to the atmosphere at all. It's a closed system, similar to the Freon, for example, in your air conditioning system at home. It's a closed system. All right, so it's always monitored. What's that? Well, there are sensors on the system, so if there's a leak or a valve leak, it will automatically sound an alarm, just like your home alarm. Is that understood?
So one thing's on those systems is these are high-tech systems. There's dozens of alarms and shutdowns on them. So in the event that the system does detect like a low pressure due to a leak or something, they shut down right away. But also to your question on glycol, there's dozens of facilities that use glycol systems. This is nothing new, it's very old. And there is also food-grade glycol that you can use as well, which is completely safe. So there's a lot of options when it comes to glycol.
Maybe they're using that food thing.
Hi, my name's Renee Miller. I've lived here for 40 years. My family's originally from here. I have a question. You keep saying something like the noise won't be that any more than it is in a normal thing. I don't want to hear it at my house. I live downtown Columbiana. What decibels are you using, and how much power are you going to pull? You should have already figured these numbers out and discussed it with our city council. So I'd like to know how much you're pulling. Are we going to be in for brownouts, blackouts, and things like that because you're pulling too much? And again, the noise.
So we already have a power allotment with the Alabama Power, and that brownout stuff would not likely be due to us. So we don't have any control over that. What we're allotted, just like any residential or industrial business, uses the power. And as far as the noise goes, as I said before, when you're looking at the many systems that are for these different servers, the loud ones are computers that have 6 or 8 fans attached to each one of them, so that you could have 20,000 small fans running. That's where it creates the noise. So that's why this company now invested in a different type of server where there's no fans. So that's why we're very confident that you're not going to hear anything, because there are no fans. The only fans are just for chillers, which are just normal industrial fans.
About the decibels.
And I would like to say that I did call the North Tonawanda mayor, Austin Tylick, just because when you Google a lot of these data centers, that one seems to pop up when you look up DigiHost. So I did my due diligence to try to stay informed and ask the questions that I had already posed to DigiHost to try to make sure they were telling me the truth. And I spoke with their mayor. He was very open and transparent with me about the noise ordinance that they actually filed in North Tonawanda, and that is probably going to be lifted. I think the case has actually been continued, but he did say that originally they had noise issues. That is why they filed the moratorium for the noise ordinance. Columbiana does have a noise ordinance, but the mayor, Mayor Tylett, assured me that once they upgraded to the same system that they are proposing will be here in Columbiana, that he actually went out to the site and they fired up these new pieces of equipment, servers, that there was no noise. So he said it is greatly lower and you can't hear anything. So he felt like they were going to do away with the noise ordinance violation and the moratorium. So I did call and speak to Mayor Tylett. I think Noah with the Shelby County Reporter also reached out to that mayor, who was very kind to speak to us about the data center that they have in their community. And he did say, because I asked all the questions, I'll be honest, he did say that DigiHost does make commitments to the community. So I don't want to say they buy them things, but they do make an investment in the community, whether it be fireworks, events, fire trucks, extra school things like that. They are trying to be a positive, collaborative partner in communities. I do want to say that. So the next question, please.
Hey, my name is Billy Thomas. I've been living here for about 48 years. I have a couple of questions for the water department, sewer department, and the council. Was any of this ever discussed with anybody before it was a done deal? When there was the agreement made, there's a no disclosure. We're gonna have a no disclosure. Was it ever discussed with the water board, sewer board, or any of the councilmen? Did anybody know about that before this happened?
You referring to the non-disclosure agreement?
Yeah, I mean, but did anybody know about what was gonna happen out there? Was you actually told by anybody else or had a meeting with anybody knowing that the data center was coming?
Who wants that one? I'll start at the end and move down.
I was never told about it, so after the fact is when we heard about it.
Okay, how long after the fact?
To be honest, I can't remember that. I'm not sure. Maybe someone else can answer that.
What I remember when it came up is that it was going to be Bitcoin at that time. It was not a data center. It was a Bitcoin mining place. And that was all we were told. We did not know that it would have any impact whatsoever. And then, like they had told us, the plans had changed. So we did not know anything about an NDA. That was never discussed with us. But it was originally a Bitcoin mining.
So if you saw the live stream back in August, September, I had some comments there, just sort of hoping to address some issues or whatever. I felt like all those issues that I talked about were factual. So DigiHost on its current operation has been in business since 2022. And as the mayor talked about, typically, council, well not typically, in all cases, the council does not approve business licenses. So that goes straight through City Hall, so that doesn't come before council. In this particular situation, the zoning deals come through council, but this particular situation did not, simply because the zoning complied with what they put on their business license. So, to answer your question, Mr. Thomas, I think that night too was when the information came out about the NDA. And I can answer your question there. I did not personally know about the NDA, didn't know anything was on the NDA until that night. So, when was what? It was in the fall. I don't remember what day it was. So in my perspective, I tried to offer comments that night that I thought were factual based on my research. But to answer your specific question, no, I did not know about the NDA.
And as everyone else has already said, basically, we knew nothing. We all started finding out at the same time. Ricky's discussed and had no idea what was going on.
Okay, how did we get from Bitcoin to a data center with nobody knowing anything about it?
Well, that might be a question that might be a question for the guys over here that might have an idea when that happened, because we don't know.
She don't need to answer. I know the council didn't know anything about it.
I don't need to answer, but I am answering for my district, which is District 1. No, I didn't know anything about it because I'm here to advocate for my school, which is Columbiana Middle School. Thank you very much.
I would like to again remind everyone that this was a previous administration that did this, and he is no longer here and not able to answer questions. 58 Inc. is here. I don't know anything else about an NDA. I've never been asked to sign an NDA. According to the council, they were never asked to sign an NDA. So, did you wanted to ask the water?
What about the water department and the fire department?
Okay.
Well, I was just wondering if they had any indication of what was going on. Was they told that the data center was coming?
No, I was not aware. I was actually out of town when the council meeting happened, and my phone blew up the next morning about 6 o'clock. I had no idea it was coming. We had nothing.
How did this get approved?
Not approved.
The water, electric, and everything,
Yes. He did not approve the water. He was talking about it, and he was misinforming everyone. He never once talked to us about anything about the water. The numbers he was saying were not accurate.
There's really no vote on a business license or a business coming into a piece of property that is zoned for that. But I'm gonna give that question to DigiHost just to see, cause y'all had conversations with the prior mayor, I did not.
We actually can't speak to that. Anybody here came in after that fact, so we don't have knowledge of that, I'm sorry. But I do wanna explain to you though, you just had a question. So as this facility was operating as Bitcoin, it's still servers. They were mining for servers, so they're just changing those servers into AI servers, which they now call a modular data center. Same platform, just different kind of computers. So it's still the same overall picture.
Let's keep our questions for one at a time coming to the microphone, if y'all don't mind. I just want to try to keep it structured and try to keep comments. So if y'all don't mind, thank you. Because I want everyone to be heard, okay? Okay.
Hi, I'm Cassandra Lawler. I've been in Columbiana all my life. Not gonna tell my age, but a long time. My concern is y'all literally is right next door to me. And the noise, and not only the noise, what made y'all want to come to a small town like Columbiana versus Birmingham?
They've already answered that. I'll go back to the noise.
You said you just talked about noise. So we've been operating for a couple of years now, and we've not had one noise complaint. So I'm not sure really what you're referring to as far as noise, and are you sure it's even our noise? But regardless of that, what we're switching to, there's not gonna be any noise. So I think you should feel comfortable with that.
I'm Mary Cooper. I live in Columbiana in Philip Dudley's old house. I have a technical question. Are you planning on having backup generators for when there's a power outage? And if so, what kind of generators? Thank you.
Yes, we will have backup generators. They'll be diesel.
How many?
We're not sure of the count at this point.
My name's Cody Holloman. I've lived here all my life. And this meeting's been going on for 20 minutes, and it's apparent it was a behind-the-scenes bullshit deal. Is there anything that can be done to get this straightened out?
I appreciate your comment. No.
Nothing can be done. That's what everybody wants to know. Y'all have a good night.
Is there any other question? We have water, we have sewer, we have things like that. This is not ever a presentation for a vote or anything like that. This is for transparency and to try to make some type of,
It can't be transparent if it's already happened.
It's not transparent.
and I'm very sorry about that. Those things were not my decision. So I'm very sorry. I am doing this community town hall to try to bridge a gap between communication so that a business that's coming in that was already approved from prior administration, that we can try to make the best out of a situation. And I think that they are trying, the DigiPowerX is trying to do its best to work with us under the circumstances. I am as frustrated as you guys are because I felt unknown. There's so many unknowns. I didn't know. From the minute I took office, all I have done is try to research and understand what was left on my plate. So I think that we need to take this opportunity to continue to listen, to learn, and move forward. It is here. I do hate to tell you that. It is here. We can't do anything about it legally. Like I've already said, the business license is legal. The zoning that it's in is legal. So does anyone else, you have a question? Okay.
My name is Susan Bentley, and yes, I do live outside the city limits, about 4 miles. But my grandchildren, my children, they have gone to the school systems here in Columbiana. I used to work at the school system here in Columbiana. So my question is, you keep talking about our children and what you're gonna do for our children. Can you clarify some of it? I don't wanna hear that you're setting up training sessions. My first thing is, like Miss Lily, my grandson is sitting at the Columbiana Middle School every day. I have 2 more fixing to be there next year. What kind of effects is this going to have on our children and our community?
I think something that you're missing here is that these containers here, the chiller, the server, are in a container that's the containers here are all insulated. They have insulation in all of the walls. So therefore, when this chiller comes on, you can't hear it, it's insulated. When the generator comes on, it's insulated, it's an insulated space. The other thing is the smokestack, when it comes on, it comes on. Okay, so everything is insulated. So if you're worried about sound and kids outside listening to this equipment, it's all insulated. You're not even going to hear it. The only thing that you'll hear is the fans of the air conditioner, which would occur at any commercial building. That's all noise. So the concern of loud noises or something like that, that will not be there.
Okay, so what are you gonna do to help our communities with our schools? That was my other question.
So this is new technology, and we understand that people just, they don't know it, they're not trained in it. So our thought process is we gotta train from within and start from the beginning. So if we can work with the schools and put in, either a BOCES training center or something where the kids can go to learn it, then we give them more opportunity to get high-paying jobs right here in the community. Is that
You gonna offer scholarships?
We will likely be offering scholarships as well.
My name is Mike Pierhoff. I've lived in Columbiana for over 30 years. And technology-wise, I have a tough time keeping up with the technology on my cell phone, zero-turn lawnmower, and things of that nature. And I'm wondering, this is supposed to be in those rectangular buildings to cover a large geographic area. How many of these geographic areas, sites will there be? For example, we cover the state of Alabama, 3 or 4 counties. How big is this thing compared to our state? And geographic community, are we dealing with the problem that the whole, particular problem for the state or just for our local community?
Well, I will answer that because I can only speak for what we will have here in Columbiana. This is the only site that we will have. This is the only site that will be contained to Industrial Road. They have phase 1 that is already a building. It was already a Bitcoin mining. That is phase 1. Phase 2 is where the old greedy foundry is. That is the only site in Columbiana. I can't speak for the rest of the state of Alabama. I do know that data centers are an up-and-coming thing. It is the future. If you shop on Amazon, if you use Facebook, if you shop online, if you do any of that is using data. If you Googled, or if you even talked into your smartphone and asked AI about data centers, that proved the point of why they're needed. And I'm neither for nor against, but this is the wave of the future because artificial intelligence is growing, and the state of Alabama, there will be other ones. All we can speak to is Columbiana. And this group they may have other facilities in other places, but our concern is Columbiana, and this will be the only site. Thank you.
And my question is, how many Columbianas will there be in the state of Alabama?
Yeah, I can't answer that, I'm sorry. That would be Governor Ivey.
Hi, my name is George Kinderdine. I've been here for 30 years. I'm an observer for the data centers. Are y'all in any way connected with the data centers proposed investment?
No.
All right, follow up on some of these people's questions. Just say you're local. You're local?
I am local. I live in Chelsea.
Chelsea. You don't live in Columbiana.
No.
You live in Chelsea. Okay. So if I say I live on a river, I can say I'm local. All right, go back to the Alabama power supply. Mountain Brook doesn't have Alabama power there. Y'all can't get power in Mountain Brook. Why Columbiana? That's a question.
They chose Columbiana for a reason, and they chose it because of a substation that was out there. And they have agreements with Alabama Power. We reached out to Alabama Power and they did not have a spokesperson available, but you guys are welcome to reach out to your Alabama Power representative and they can give specifics on that. We can't speak on any kind of contract with Alabama Power, but they have been in talks with Alabama Power.
Okay, let's go back to Columbiana. All right, the mayor previous to you gave a permit through his office to Bitcoin. Who were y'all first? Bitcoin? And y'all weren't connected with Bitcoin, were you? Are you Bitcoin or formerly Bitcoin?
We started the process mining for Bitcoin, yes.
So you are in fact Bitcoin, and that's where the permit originated. Then got transferred over to your new name, DigiHost, and then the DigiX.
It's the same company. It's the same name.
So it just changes names in different locations. Now going back to Columbiana, y'all are investing in a lot of money here. I see pods. Water cooled, not water cooled. Air cooled with, okay. Water, the electrical, that's Alabama and our problem with Alabama. You're investing in Columbiana. It looks like you can pick up in pods and put them down anywhere, right? Basically, you just.
I mean, there's infrastructure that we invested in already underground, cabling, wires, substations. I mean,
But
that's.
you can basically pick up those computers and put them on 18-wheelers and go anywhere else.
The container itself, yes.
Okay, so after you did Columbiana, you can go to some other city real conveniently, right?
We're in multiple places already.
My name's Rick Harmon. I live in Columbiana, almost next door to City Hall, but that's okay. I'm gonna go ahead and address you youngsters anyway. If there's anybody here that's been any length of time, we can talk. Now, I don't know if this thing is good or bad for Columbiana. I'm not that smart. But it sure appears to me that something was done behind our backs. Yeah. But that's too high power for me. I live in town. I have to get around here. And I want to know what this project is going to do for the streets of Columbiana, and how am I going to get to the drugstore? How am I going to get to Alabaster if the roads are clogged? Not that I want to go, I don't. But that's where my concern is. What is it going to do to our town?
Well, I'll answer that. I don't think that it's going to affect traffic at all. It's already on the industrial side of town.
40 to 70 employees is going to make a difference?
That's 70 jobs. I don't see it being a huge traffic impact. And I totally agree with you that this was done behind everyone's back, and that's a shame. And I'm trying to rectify that and right that at this meeting. So I think that we all feel that way. I feel the same frustration. I think the city council feels the same frustration. We are all citizens of the same town that you guys live in, and yes.
So that means you're gonna give up and not pursue any avenue of stopping it?
We can't. We have done so much due diligence in asking attorneys and asking all of the things that there are legal things that you can and cannot do, and they meet all of the criteria. So again, I'm sorry. There's absolutely nothing that we can do about that. I don't think that traffic is going to be an issue. I'm very much hopeful that when we sit down with and negotiate different things when they start phase 2, that we're going to be able to collaborate on some really wonderful community projects. That is my hope. That is my goal. Maybe I'm naive, but that is where I'm focused. And I truly think that somehow there can be a silver lining in this, that we can get some community projects taken care of that we normally wouldn't have the opportunity to do. They may not have sales tax. They may not have tons and tons of employees, but they're gonna have property tax. They're gonna pay a business license. They're going to be a business in Columbiana that gives back something. So their success hopefully will be part of our success. So I understand and feel your frustrations. Sorry. Go ahead again, Ms. Miller.
Yeah, I have a statement to make, and then I have some questions, but the statement I have to make, and it's a very unpleasant one to have to make. Unfortunately, our city council did not stand up to that mayor. You didn't vote on a lot of things, you didn't listen to a lot of things, and he was trying to slide by, and I am really disappointed in y'all. But I would like to ask the water, the fire, and the sewer, because they weren't in all of those, but they did get called in on meetings, and what was your perspective of this, what happened? And what we should have done about this, yes or no, having it?
As far as the water, I was unaware of it, and then once I was made aware of it, had conflicting numbers from what Mayor Mitchell had. And I went in several meetings with him, and even after confronting him about the numbers that he had, he still told the public different numbers. Was not able to be involved in the meetings because we're not actually part of the city, so I wasn't able to be involved in the meetings. Lisa's been nice enough to include us now, but we had no idea about what was going on. We knew about the Bitcoin, and when they first come in, they didn't tell us anything, wouldn't tell us when the water moves. So we actually pulled the meter that they had for Grady and put a smaller meter in so they could only use the limited amount of water until they told us what they would use. And to this day, they're still using that same meter and don't use a lot of water. Once we started talking, they actually come to me about numbers of how much water they use, which was way off from what the mayor was saying. We informed them how much water they could use. They actually can only use the same amount of water everybody in this room can use. They have a standard residential meter, and that's all the water they can get. The water they're going to be using is actually less than all the apartment complexes here in town on a daily average and monthly average. Is going to be way below other places on Industrial Road. I mean, you gotta realize we have 2 jails out there that use a lot of water. So as far as the water consumption and what they're using, I know it sounds like a lot, but it's not. I mean, if you turned on every faucet in your house, that's the amount of water they're to use. But as far as knowing anything in advance, we didn't know until that August meeting when it hit the council is when we found out.
Okay, so fire department wise, we're in the same boat Josh is with the water board. We did not, we did work with Bitcoin to begin with. We did all the inspections with Bitcoin since 22. They've held up to their standards. We've heard talk about the data center coming, just like you did. There was discussions, but we never seen anything in writing. We never seen a set of plans until the meeting that y'all are discussing, and the talk about the non-disclosure. So as far as the information the fire department had, we had very little information on the data center, just like you were. We were just basically informed it might be coming. Of course, every other community around here has the same information. So how much thought do you put into that? I mean, Wilsonville, Bessemer, Westover, everybody's getting a data center. So that being said, we didn't dot any I's and cross any T's until we knew anything for sure, which again was too late. I can assure you that as far as the fire department is concerned, our number one concern is the safety of the citizens of Columbiana. We work very close with the county, the state, and federal levels on anything that goes on these large businesses and industrial sites. The data center by itself, I hear you talking about this chemical, that chemical, not to name one in particular. But they are regulated, the chemicals that they have on these sites. The fire department, local government, and the federal government is informed on how much chemical they have. If it's an over amount of standard, all businesses are required to give us a tier 1 report or tier 2 report. Those are started in December, January, where their deadline is by March the 1st. Those reports tell us what chemicals they have on site, and it gives us time to seek training to actually fight those accidents if they happen. All that comes with training, that if they do come up with a new chemical that we're not aware of in the community, then we will be reaching out to them to help with the training and pay for that training. So, you know, as far as the fire department is concerned, I mean, we're here for you, but by the same token, we are here to protect the businesses and their investment. And as it is a two-edged sword, that's what we do. So, any more questions?
And to address the sewer issue, right now it won't be any problem if they do what they say and not discharge over 15,000 gallons a day, because anything under 15,000, we can handle. It wouldn't be any problem. So I don't see any problem if they do what they say they're gonna do.
Since Chief Howard just mentioned some fire issues, I do want DigiHost to discuss. They have a fire suppression system, so I think that's informational. That I think. Would you guys mind explaining that?
Yeah, it's a gas suppression system with Novak 1230. It doesn't use any water. It protects the computers. It's commonly used. It's just like an argon or carbon system you would use in a restaurant kitchen. So.
Yes, ma'am.
Hi, my name is Heather Tinsley. I actually live in Shelby, but it's after 7. So, I do want to stay here.
Thank you for that, though.
Both of my daughters go to school here. I'm active in the community. We chose to live here. We moved here about 13 years ago. I also happen to have a PhD in toxicology, and I wanted to follow up on Karen's question earlier, so this is mostly to you guys. What is the total volume of glycol that you're going to be running in your system when it's at full capacity? And are you running ethylene or propylene glycol? Or another variation?
We actually haven't even calculated it out yet, because we're still just in the first phase of the build out. But we'll be under any reportable quantities. Clearly, they're not very big systems.
Okay, is it going to be ethylene or propylene? That is a huge.
It's probably going to be propylene.
Probably.
Yeah.
Okay.
We have options, so we're just researching them now to see which ones we want to use.
And what are the permitting requirements you'll have to go through with ADEM for that?
Right now, there's no permitting required for that. It's too small.
Thank you.
My name's Chandler Manwaring. I'm a Columbiana resident. And my question comes down to, did you guys come out just magically found Columbiana, or was it 48 Inc. or that brought you here, that found you and brought you, hey, Columbiana looks great? That's my first part of my question.
Yeah, ultimately they came here because there was infrastructure not being used, right? Grady came in and they built that substation for the foundry, and it sat there not being used. Well, companies like this try to find places where substations are already not being used, where they can reduce costs ultimately. So they find these spots and they plug in. And something else I'd like to say, you know, we keep on pointing to Bitcoin and this. Ultimately, it's the same thing, guys. It's servers just being cooled different ways. So, I mean, ultimately, we were running a data center. Now we're running a different type data center. Yeah.
Well, companies that want to be integrated as part of the community don't come in making mayors sign NDAs for a small town that has limited resources on attorneys. But we're talking benefits to the community, right? So we're talking really property tax and what that may be. So maybe to our mayor, what is that going to look like? Because from what I see, not a whole lot of property tax added value with the systems they're bringing in.
We haven't had any financial type contractual negotiating discussions yet, so I don't really want to speak to that, but we will discuss all of those things, so.
It just feels like there's a whole lot of answers being dodged tonight especially by DigiHost, and avoiding questions, and obviously don't have answers, because I asked you specifically if you guys found Columbiana, or if a company, was it 53 Inc. or 48 Inc.?
58 Inc. is here, and I will let Amy, would you mind speaking to that? This is Amy Sturdivant with 58 Inc. 58 Inc. is an entity from Shelby County.
Hi, I'm Amy Sturdivant. I'm the president and CEO of 58 Inc., which is Shelby County's Economic Development Corporation. And we are funded primarily by the Shelby County Commission, along with Columbiana and other communities across the 14 communities that we serve. So we have made it a statement that we're not proactively and did not proactively recruit any data center, but that we are working with any data center that is looking in any area of Shelby County where it is wanted to be. Because of zoning and things like that, that can happen in places if the zoning allows for it. So no, we did not recruit this company, but once they found the Greedy Foundry years ago, we knew about it and worked with them as they came in.
Thank you. The last part of my question, looks like to me like you guys have picked on a small community. Whether it be good or not, I don't know for our community, but they find these holes and work their way into these communities. Perhaps Columbiana needs to put up some money to actually get a team of attorneys such as companies like this get to see what can be done or to prevent further developments that may cause harm to our community or not. Thank you.
Hello, my name is Lee Hedgepeth. I'm a reporter for Inside Climate News, a national environmental news outlet. I just had a couple kind of rapid fire questions, so Noah, please tell me when I go over my time. For DigiHost, you guys said you have a specific power allotment already from Alabama Power. What is that power allotment in megawatts?
We have a contract with them right now for 22 megawatts.
And on the diesel generator question, you said you're not sure exactly how many diesel generators. Do you guys have a plan around the air pollution related to the diesel generators, particularly given it's, how close it is to schools, for example?
Right. Right now, once we see what's allowed for our phases of what we're going to build out, then we'll be able to calculate that. But right now, nothing's approved, so.
Do you expect to have to go through ADM permitting for that piece, the diesel generation piece?
So right now, no, I think we're going to be under the quantity. But again, we're going to be calculating that once we start the bigger build out.
And do you guys have an end user for the AI for these servers? Do you know who the end user will be as of now?
I can't disclose that.
What was the purpose in the NDA that you had the previous mayor sign?
We weren't there for it, any of us here, but just speaking in general terms of NDAs, a lot of times when companies are coming in and they want to buy a particular property, they don't want to announce who they are, right? Because there's things that when you do like tax abatements and stuff, if they already know about the project coming in, you won't get a tax abatement. So a lot of times there's an NDA signed to make sure that they can get the property and it's properly zoned and everything else. And that's a lot of times why an NDA is signed.
Do you guys plan to ask anybody on the stage to sign an NDA from this point forward?
No.
Okay. Question for the economic development folks. Have you guys signed an NDA?
The NDA, I will say, we do have a copy of the NDA that Mayor Mitchell signed.
No comment.
Okay.
I think I'll leave it there. Thank you, guys.
So my question's not too dissimilar to his, just a little bit. I'm not really having a copy of the NDA. That's just having something that says you won't disclose a mystery amount of information. So we know that it was signed, and we know that there's information that wasn't disclosed to the public, but we is it true that we do not know what all of that information may or may not?
We have a copy of the NDA that the mayor signed that anyone is welcome to read after the meeting.
We're gonna publish it, so, the NDA, yeah, we will.
And then I had a question. I know that this started out as you were going to be using the servers for one thing, and then it just changed to you'll be using the servers for a different thing. And it sounded like the council and a lot of people were aware the first go round with, everyone said that they did know when it was going to be used for Bitcoin mining, right? So what, I'm just confused. It sounds like the NDA was somewhere in between them changing from doing the Bitcoin mining to using it just for AI data use. That's where I'm kind of getting lost.
Actually, there's no date on the NDA, so we don't know exactly when he signed it, so I'm sorry, we don't have that information.
So we, okay.
Again, before me, sorry.
So there was, there's just like a lot of aggravation that came to light. Obviously, when we found out that there was secrecy, we don't like that. But there was a lot of aggravation when they changed from doing Bitcoin mining to using it for AI data storage. Why?
Well, I think Eddie just answered that they already had servers,
right,
and then they're just doing a different type. But would you like to elaborate on that?
How does that make it worse? Or cause, yeah, right, I mean, there was well, we don't know, that could have been signed before when it was going to be done.
So in my opinion, going from Bitcoin mining to going to hosting GPUs, you're going to a more sophisticated, a more well put together modular setup.
Right.
I mean, it's a better system. It's more of a piece for the community. I mean, this is something that's not being done hardly anywhere else right now. And Columbiana is about to be. I mean, it's going to be a show like, you know.
So how long has the building that's been operational? How long has it been operational?
Since 2022.
Okay, that gives us a little bit of time that we could have seen the company investing in our city. I'm sorry.
So something else that going from Bitcoin mining to what we're doing here, you have to have a lot more staff, and you have to have 24/7 staff. These things have to have 99.9% uptime. So to answer your question, when you're Bitcoin mining, you have a lot of computers that are mining, collecting Bitcoin, but ultimately you don't have to sit there and babysit them, and so you're gonna have a lot more staff, a lot more people watching.
Hi, my name is Scott Morris. I've lived here 25 years now, live very close to the Bitcoin operation that's been going on. And by the way, it is noisy. But I just want to address the whole situation, because tonight there's been a lot of avoiding questions, answering questions without answering questions. And going back to the NDA, it is very common, and you keep getting these smirks, and I would appreciate it if you didn't get those smirks. It's not very polite. NDAs are very common with businesses wanting to come in for economical growth, and that's to protect proprietary interest, trade secrets. That's what that is designed for. It is not designed to mislead the community on what the project is that's coming in. In the meeting that y'all are referring to, the mayor admitted at the beginning that he knew that this was a 3-phase project when he approved that. Also, by the way, it is not illegal to sign NDAs, just so everybody knows that. It is, however, illegal to receive compensation for doing so. And I do believe there was a $5,000 contribution made by DigiPowerX to him, to the former mayor. Let me to his campaign. Let me rephrase that, but same thing. That to me, I'm not a lawyer, so maybe somebody else could answer, but that seems like fraud. And I know for a fact that if a city can approve business, they can revoke business. And they have to have a legitimate reason, and I understand that. And I would be here to say that fraud is a legitimate reason. So I'll just leave that with you guys. Thank you.
Did you want a specific question, like?
No.
Okay, that was the statement. Thank you. Yes, sir.
All right, I'll try to follow that up, but my name's Kevin Locker. I've lived here for about 3 years. I've heard tax abatements, that concept thrown around a few times tonight, and in my limited understanding of them, it's typically because, you know, communities give those because they're trying to attract a business that they're trying to bring in for, you know, various purposes. I don't think I'm speaking out of turn when it sounds like the majority of our community is not excited about attracting your particular business. It also sounds like kind of, you know, done deal, you're gonna be here regardless. So I guess my question is just, are we considering tax abatements? I know you're still talking about strategy, but if we would be doing so, what would be the benefit to our community? Why would we be considering something like that?
I will speak to that. I don't know enough about abatements at this point to negotiate anything like that, but I do feel like if the only revenue that we are going to get from this business is property tax, why would we abate that? Why would we give that away? That is my feeling on it. We haven't, like I said to begin with, we haven't sat down for any type of financial negotiations or anything like that. But any type of business that comes into Columbiana should benefit Columbiana in some form or fashion. And that's my stance on that. So part of the reason that we're here is to start the conversations when we get to that point of the planning for phase 2 or any type of financial negotiations. We'll be transparent with that as well. That is why I'm here. Thank you for that question.
Hello, my name is Lena. I work at the Arts Council, just over there. My question is, if in the case that this is not good for Columbiana, or something is going wrong, businesses are not going so well, all the bad things we're expecting happens in the worst case scenario. What kind of protections can we expect from the city, and what measures are you going to enforce in order to basically speak for the people and have our voices heard?
Well, I think the only recourse we would really have would be non-renewal of business licenses if there was a noise nuisance, some type of ordinance violation, things like that. That would be really our only recourse. So again, those are kind of scenarios that we don't know yet. So, we have to allow them time to plan, submit their proposals, have their business going before we can discuss any of that. So it's hard to speak on scenarios, but myself and the city council, we're here to do what's in the best interest of Columbiana no matter what. So if there becomes an issue, we certainly would bring that to their attention, make them come into some type of compliance. Our ordinances would support any kind of decision that we would make. So, like I said, it's hard to speak on some unknowns. So,
well, thank you so much.
You're absolutely welcome. Thank you.
I'm Steve Barrow. I've been living in Columbiana since 1961, and little Johnny touched on it a little bit, but I want to touch on the safety of this. I don't know how many cubicles you're going to have, and you talked about having a fire system, a halon system, and all. But with the middle school right out there, I guess what we need to be more concerned about now, since you're here, is the safety. And I know y'all want to have the safety, but we want to know exactly You know, if the halon system fails, what does our firefighting team need to do and have to be able to put out this fire and to fight it, you know, with the middle school right there and, you know, and make sure that everybody's safe. So, and I know y'all address that, but, you know, that's just something, a worst case scenario we need to know about fire.
Of course, and we work with the fire department on that. We've actually had some meetings already. Being these things self-contained, they were actually more happier to hear that because they're individual and they have their own system. So it's actually a little bit easier to take care of if there was an incident.
I understand that, but if it's man-made, it can fail. And so if it fails, what is gonna be our backup system? Are we gonna be able to fight it with foam? And, you know, are they gonna need to know what we need to do?
And that will all be disclosed to the fire department, yeah.
Johnny, as the fire chief, do you want to speak on that at all?
Okay, like I said earlier, this is it's a learning process for all of us. When you start talking about computers, electrical fires, that type of thing, everything's different. We will be asking them to give us training on what they have. I don't know of anybody around here that's actually got a data center in their coverage area, so I mean, it's not like you can just go ask Alabaster, Pelham, whoever, Hoover. I mean, we're gonna have to rely on what product they use. We don't know what that product is at this time. They haven't decided that. We haven't went over a complete site plan. We haven't went over the way the layout of the structure to identify exactly how it's laid out yet. All that is in the making. But like I said earlier, we can assure you that whatever it is, we will do the absolute best to keep the citizens and our schools safe, and that is our top priority. Okay?
My name is Daniel Blankenship. I live right in town, and my main question is, that site has got a lot of hazardous materials for years and years and years, and what is done to clean the site as far as an EPA standpoint?
Well, we've already done a phase 1 on the whole grounds, and right now nothing's required as far as that's concerned.
I'm Sarah Ziegler, and I have business in this town for 10 years. I live in Shelton. I want to know about your tax base. You're going to pay Columbiana taxes, county taxes, state taxes, federal taxes. Are there any other taxes that's going to be given by your company?
I hope not, that sounds like a lot. But, but we don't have any abatements yet. We pay any taxes that we're required to pay as a business.
I want to know how your license was issued. Was it under your company's name or Bitcoin? Because the state regulates your company as either one. So your license is going to state which or whichever. I need to know what you're going to be licensed as.
It's DigiHost technology. The Bitcoin mining is no longer operational. So
Which was the agreement made with?
The business license has always been under DigiPowerX technology.
Are you
That's
a
what it
lawyer?
will stay.
Can I ask, are you a lawyer?
No.
I'm
an electrician.
Okay. Are you part of the project? Okay. So, as being a business person in this town for 10 years, you either make it or you don't make it. Either people like you or they don't like you. And at this point, I don't think they like you. I know as a business person. So, you can make it or not make it. Personally, I hope you don't make it.
My
name's Charles Miller. I'm the policy director at the Alabama Rivers Alliance. We're based in Birmingham. I just had two questions about the ESA. What company did the Phase 1 ESA?
You have to go back and look at it. I don't remember what the company was.
Okay. And are you guys planning on doing any further site assessments?
Right now, no.
Okay, thank you.
Can I just ask 3 questions? Okay, what were they? One is, someone went out to the site today, and we had heard, looking at poor Josh, that it was gonna be a small water size, and they went out today and it was 1 3/4 inches. Does that make any sense?
Yes, actually it does.
Oh, thank you.
Yes, it is a standard 5/8 by 3/4. So when you measure the outside, it's probably what they did. That's a different diameter than the port that actually goes through the inside.
Okay, so it's all, okay, so
It's
that's
a
still
standard
legit.
measurement. There's no different in that meter than you have at your house.
Thank you, thank you, thank you. And question for Lisa. The lawyer that went along with the past mayor, I assume that he had something to do with the transaction. Do we still use the same lawyer?
I don't know who he sought counsel from on that. I wasn't involved in
I
that.
meant the city. Who is the city lawyer?
The city lawyer is Wallace Ellison.
Okay, and so
I don't know who he,
so it's the same
I don't know.
then and now? Okay.
It is the same, we use the same thing, but I don't know if that's who he sought counsel from, so.
Oh, right,
I'm
right.
sorry, he's not here to answer that.
And I have a question for the lady here, that group that you represent. I'm from Shelby. Where are you from?
I work in Pelham.
You work in Pelham? And who are the other people or how many other people are there on this task force?
So we're a corporation that serves all of Shelby County that was established in 2017 to further the economic development priorities of the county and the communities in the county. So for instance, we meet with each mayor, and we met with Mayor Davis when she came in office and asked what her priorities was. And one of them was to, as she said, work through this because she didn't know about it. And so we've done a little bit of that work, but we're also working on other projects with her. And we work with each of the communities to do the same.
And how many of you are there?
We have 4 full-time employees.
And they're all from Shelby County?
We're not all from Shelby County, but we all work on behalf of Shelby County.
But they're in Alabama?
Oh, yeah, oh, yeah.
Yes. And I wanted to also state that the billionaires on the West Coast have so many of these data centers now already going that they're pretty much we're saturated. And it's time for them to back off. And a lot of them are, because the communities are saying, no, no, no. So that just is of interest.
Thank you.
Thank you for this.
Sure.
I don't, this may have been covered, but how much, do you have any wastewater? I mean, I had a plant here in town, and I had to put in a wastewater treatment system.
Right, no, there's no wastewater. It's our normal household wastewater. And we're gonna say, what's that?
You said the normal household wastewater?
Yeah, I mean, our normal plumbing as far as waste.
Did you understand that, Mr. Jones? Did you, was that the answer?
There's no wastewater. Yeah. There's no wastewater, there's no need for wastewater treatment.
Right, the only wastewater that they will be using is like a normal business. They're not having any type of discharge since they're not using excess water. Because of the system that they're using, they won't have discharge that goes into our wastewater. But they will have, since it's a business, they will have restrooms at this facility. So that is the normal. No, there will be no industrial wastewater. It will just be restrooms. Yes, sir.
Hi, my name is Jimmy Moore, and I live here in Columbiana. I want to piggyback on something you said earlier this evening. When you mentioned that the initial jobs are going to be a total of 7 in the areas of IT, maintenance, security, and administration. Do you know how many you're going to have how many you need in each of those areas? And will that, and how many jobs in the company plan on staying, and what happens if you close the data center in 5 years, and how many of those jobs, how many total jobs that you're looking to have at full operation?
Well, that's depending on where we're approved for is going to vary, so we don't know that answer until we get full approvals. But we're estimating it's going to be between 40 and 70 people.
At full operation?
At full operation. It's going to be a slow ramp up for the next 2 years.
So in 5 years, it will still be 70 people? Or will I be additional?
It could be more, and we don't know until we get there, to be honest.
Okay, so the company hasn't had any plans looking forward beyond the 70, or do you have that? You guys talk about it?
Once we get done with the build out, we'll see where it levels out. But if we need more, it'll be more. If we need less, it'll be less. But right now, from what we've done so far, that's where we think we're going to be the ranges when it's fully built out. So there would be no reason to add more.
Thank you.
I want to follow up again. So you have ideas of job numbers, but a gentleman asked before how many of these pods there's going to be, and you never answered that question. So at full operation, how many pods do you plan to have?
About 17 pods right now for the first phase.
Okay, and going back to my glycol question, you should know how much glycol you need per pod, right? Do you have those calculations?
We just got the specs, so we're going to start working on it.
You have a ballpark.
Nope. Not gonna lie to you, I don't know the numbers, so I'm not gonna split out anything.
Okay, and since this does sound like it's a done deal, we can't do anything. I guess as a community, I don't love the idea of lots of glycol next door to my kid's school, but if you have to make a choice, I would encourage you to look at propylene over ethylene, please.
Yeah, we know the effects because the system's stainless steel, so to your point, there's certain characteristics in those that will wreck the plumbing, so obviously we understand what to do.
But also propylene's slightly less toxic. Not non-toxic, but slightly less toxic.
Mary Cooper again, citizen of Columbiana. I just have a quick question about the company name, which came up because when I was using data centers to look you guys up, I came across a large number of different names at different times that have been used. And thank you for clarifying that it will be DigiHost Technology. That's the company that will be here, right?
That's the upstream company's name.
Upstream company.
Yeah. So Elisa was actually she was saying that it's wrong, so we're not DigiHost, we're DigiPowerX. Yeah, that's
okay. So that was the other one that I was looking at, DigiPowerX, yeah. DGXX on the stock exchange, right?
Yes.
Yeah. And I noticed all your pictures say U.S. Data Centers Incorporated.
it's a manufacturer.
Is that what it's going to be called here? No.
No, it's just the manufacturer of the container.
Oh, okay, that's just the name of the container. I got you. Well, thank you. I think that's it. Oh, one more. Are your headquarters in Miami or Texas or where?
The official headquarters in Texas.
Texas. Thank you.
I just want a follow-up question. How many, I know they asked you how many pods you're going to have. Are they going to stay pods, or at some point in time we're going to build a building like this, or is it going to just
This
stay
first
pods?
phase is pods. The next phase that we're gonna look for approval for, we'd like to put a whole building in, so it looks nicer.
Yeah, that's what I was.
Yeah.
We had discussions about that today because I think the city council would be happier
if it looked like a warehouse instead of just driving by and it being pods. So when I was out on the job site today on phase 1 on the hill looking down, I think if it's a warehouse from the road, you're gonna see a warehouse. You're not gonna see all of these white containers that look odd and stand out. So I think that they're going to make an effort to have this housed under one roof with some coolant systems in the back. Wait, but just 1 minute, Miss Jensen, I will let you do. Does anyone else have okay, go ahead. I want to give everybody an opportunity, Miss Karen, okay? Thank you.
Hello.
Hi.
My name is Susan Kahn, and I want to follow up on what I think it was Mary was talking about, the data center using, using the backup generators. In 2024, the University of California did a study using the backup diesel generators for all these data centers. And they found that asthma-related cases were up. In some places, it was up to 600,000 cases of asthma-related, and that came up to roughly $20 billion. And they said that the findings highlighted that the rapid expansion of infrastructure poses an emerging public health crisis in communities where the data centers are located and diesel generators are used. Now, y'all are next to our school, and every child we have out there is precious. And we just want to make sure our kids are going to be taken care of, and that the diesel is not, who regulates our pollution count? I mean, do we have somebody that does that? I mean, how would you even know if our pollution's high based on their generator use?
So there's different types of facilities. So there's the one actually where I live, and they have, it's like 100 of them running nonstop. That's what they use to power them. And there is limits on facilities, so you still have to meet pollution thresholds. But ours is just purely for backup in the event we lose power. So they're not going to be running continuously. You're going to probably get once a week, you're going to get a test cycle, and that's all we actually expect to run.
How many generators would you have for the whole data center?
7 of them, and they're small.
And again, how would we know if you're going over and polluting or not if we don't have a way to check it? Y'all have.
There's specs on the machines, and they'll be will be under the limit that's required by the state.
And what do you do if that happens? Do you shut it down? What?
They'll shut us down.
They pay a tiny little fine.
The state, I think, has, I don't know that. Okay.
The state does?
That's a good question. We will kind of follow up on that. Thank you.
Hi, Noah Wortham, Shelby County reporter. I'll time myself, but I don't think I'll need 3 minutes. The substation that's currently there that was left over from Greedy, that's 22 megawatts, right?
Correct.
Do you have plans to upgrade to higher wattage in the future?
Yes.
Is there enough infrastructure currently in place for those necessary upgrades, or would you have to work with Alabama Power to upgrade the area more?
We would have to do an upgrade for the tie-in substation, yes.
Okay, thank you.
Under time.
Damn, Blankenship again. Grady is probably, buried, I've heard that they buried like transformers and other capacitors and different things in the ground out there for years and years. So I think some questions need to be asked, like how deep or how wide contaminants is on that site. And the other thing is, if you use diesel generators, are you going to use scrubbers to help the pollution? That's
The The generators do have scrubbers in the stack. So that answers your question.
Okay, we're about to start running out of time. Is there anyone else that has any questions? I'm gonna, of course, let Miss Karen say something, but
Do you guys have, just real quick, do you guys have an estimate for at full build out, at, you know, the final phase, what the energy use would be? What would energy use be?
what would be the full
Energy use at the last?
energy use at the total build out, final build out?
70 megawatts.
70?
My name is Jack Dudley. I live in Shelby, but I lived in Columbiana over 30 years. And I'm just following up with what Dan Blankenship just asked about. He didn't get it. That hasn't been addressed enough. This site has been reported to have PCBs all over it, from buried capacitors, transformers, and things from the Gree Corporation for years, Foundry. And have you been contacted by ADEM or the EPA or any other entities about that issue on that site?
The EPA has been out there, but I'll let he.
Yeah, ADEM did come out. We walked the site. Ultimately, we discussed that the possibility of things being buried there. They told me if I dig in the earth, I've got to start doing samples and figure out what's there. So ultimately, we'll have to go with a plan to not disturb that concrete at all, and ultimately cap over it.
There again, you're literally right down the road from the middle school. The drainage goes to the sewage plant. That whole area is very prone to flooding. You go look at the site right now. Every time it rains, there's 3 feet of water in holes.
Yeah, I do know ADEM's involved on those properties, and they have permits on it, and they do watch that stuff. But I guess that stuff that was buried there years and years ago is what I was being told. So, but they do watch the runoff. I know that. There's permits on the property above us too.
So there's been no testing done in that soil for
We
contaminants.
haven't dug into this one. We do not plan to.
Surely they'll be digging into that soil.
Yeah, we plan on capping it.
Capping.
Mike, I have a question. To the development lady, has this company requested tax abatement for county taxes?
When companies ask for an abatement,
It's a yes, no question. Has this company, it's a yes, no question.
when companies ask for an abatement,
It's a yes, no question. Obviously, they have. I will ask the gentleman from the company, have you asked the county for tax abatement on county ad valorem taxes? You have not. Okay, that's the answer to your question. Are you going to ask for tax abatement from the county on ad valorem taxes?
I would also think that Chad would be in negotiations with those.
The bottom line is, I'm asking a yes, no question, and I've got a no answer, a yes answer, that they have not asked for tax abatement, and she is not giving me a no answer.
I can explain if you'll let me.
It's a yes, no question.
It is not.
Yes, it is. If you
Does
can't
the rest
give
of
me-
the audience want to know the answer?
If you can't give me a yes, no
Okay,
answer,
I
just sit
can-
down and I'll move to my next question.
Okay.
Thank you.
Okay.
Second
Just
question.
for the rest of the-
Are your chillers, are your devices attached to the property? Are they real property or are they personal property? Are they real property or personal property? A yes, no answer. You're an electrical engineer, you should know the, huh?
It's company property.
Are they attached to the dirt?
Yeah, they're on foundations.
Can they be removed easily?
Not easily, but
Okay,
yes.
there's personal property in Alabama. If they're personal property in Alabama, they're taxed as personal property through the county. The city gets not a dime for that. It's like owning a mobile home. The county gets taxes off a mobile home, but it's not taxed as real estate. Now, you're gonna put $200 million worth of equipment out there. if it's gonna be taxed as personal property, the county's gonna get 100% of that tax, the city's not gonna get a dime out of it, okay? Now, if it is a fix, and apparently you don't know that, you're in this business, if it is a fixture and it is attached to the dirt, it's taxed as real property, and the county's probably gonna give you a tax abatement. The city's not gonna get a dime out of it. Lisa has already said they're not gonna abate the city taxes. Correct? It's a yes, no question.
I think you know the answer.
Okay, well, you give it to me.
You already know it, I don't need to tell you.
Tell us, we don't know it. I ask you yes, no question.
You actually know more than me, because that's not my department, I'm not the finance guy for that, so.
It's pretty obvious I know more than you, but the question is.
Congratulations.
Thank you, I earned it. The question is, if it's gonna be taxed as real estate, or gonna be taxed as personal property, and you're talking about $200 million worth of assets, you're talking about putting $200 million worth of mobile homes on a piece of property that will be taxed as personal property. If that's 100% rebated by the county, the city gets not a dime for that. Now, if it's taxed as real estate, the county, the city, if they do not abate it, will get taxed. Now, $200 million, the city would get a few bucks in taxes, okay? That's why I'm saying you don't know the answer to the question. Okay, thank you. Thank you. I agree.
Thank you.
Sure, okay. My question is about, first of all the research that I've done, the jobs are about 10 people, but, and to turn it over to robots. But what I want to ask about is transportation, but traffic. One of the things that a lot of communities are complaining about is that during construction, all these trucks come in, and I'm speaking again because we have young people there going through puberty. So anyway, we need you to tell me what kind of, these big trucks will come in bringing heavy equipment. They have to be out of towners doing it because this is expensive stuff you're bringing in. And sometimes they don't follow the traffic rules. It's not their town, it's not their, backyard. So the police basically have to be out there more than they should have to be out there to control the traffic. And they ask them to slow down, and they will say yes, and then, it'll be another truck. So they're kind of causing issues. What do you do for that, for the community?
Well, I'm hoping that the police do their jobs and give these people fines for one, if they are indeed breaking the law. And, as far as, not everybody is out of town, we're working with local contractors that are on site right now, so they live in the community. Some of them are truckers, some of them are builders, so it's not all people that are out of town. Yeah, obviously we don't have any control over whoever's driving.
But you're willing to help fund some extra police for our community?
If that is something that the mayor needs help with, we would certainly consider it.
Okay, we're gonna start wrapping up because we're just about out of time. Thank you to the panel. Is there anyone, I wanna make sure everyone has the opportunity to, yes ma'am.
Have you visited Columbiana Middle School, Jointown Road? We have a lot of citizens that stay right there, right by the data center, right there on the edge of the school right now. I think we have one, about 5 or 6. Have y'all visited this neighborhood? Have y'all came to Columbiana Middle School? Y'all driven past, but y'all haven't came in the vicinity of the place. In other words, y'all just came past it. Y'all didn't go around it to see on the property. Y'all can't introduce yourself to the principal. Okay, what about the neighbors?
I'm just saying, you had to talk to the citizens that, you know, the homes that the people that stay there. Y'all had to talk to them. Okay. Thank you.
Okay, I'm gonna take just a few minutes just to go to look over with our clerk, Charlene, to make sure the questions that were submitted have been answered in some form or fashion. If anyone else wants to come to the mic and ask a question or have a comment, and then we'll kind of wrap up. One of the questions is what is the time frame for phase 1 to be up and running? Within the next 2 months, so by the end of February, possibly March. I will say phase 2, there hasn't been anything submitted as far as planning to the city council or planning and zoning for approval yet. So all of those plans will go through our planning commission board. We will have ample opportunity to look at their plans, tweak those plans, ask for any kind of changes on the site, things like that. So while we say it's a done deal, there's still opportunities for us through the planning and proposals and permitting phase of this. At the end of the day, phase 2, what do you think your timeline will be? 2026?
It'd be great if we could do that by the end of the year.
Okay, that was one of the questions. Okay, did you have a question, Amanda?
Just real quick.
Okay, sure, sorry.
Yeah, thank you. I thought the distinction that the gentleman was mentioning as to whether or not the facility is attached to the dirt and the implications that that has for taxes was fascinating. I guess my question would be is, in the year, 3 years since it was Bitcoin, was the city seeing tax revenue from it at that point? Because it's the same structure currently, is that correct? So has the city received any tax monies based on the gentleman's distinction as to the property?
Since I'm so new and I don't have any knowledge of that, I'm gonna pass the mic to Charlotte.
There's the type of business that it is not a sales tax generator. So we only get once a year, we get property taxes and we get business license revenue once a year.
But you've been receiving property tax from it?
Yes.
Because that's the distinction, correct? He left.
Because of the property, because of the property.
Okay, but
Yes.
as far as his point as to whether or not it's attached to the dirt and the tax implications for that, county versus city, have you been seeing the revenue specifically that he was speaking about?
Well, no, because all of the equipment is not there yet. So that would come like when more pods are brought.
Right, but it's been, the Bitcoin facility, it's been the same since 2022,
Yes.
which they're using. So that's my question, is even with his distinction as to it is not attached to the dirt, are you seeing that money?
Yeah, it's only on the property.
Okay.
So it's not additional.
Okay.
But we get business license once a year.
Yeah. Okay, thank you.
Okay, any other questions, comments? Sure.
And I'll time myself again. So there's been a lot of talk about phase 2 that you guys are swapping over to the glycol cold solution. Phase 1, which is supposed to start in the next 2 months or so, so the end of February/March. What is phase 1 comprised of, and is it still water cooled?
We'll have 1 megawatt that's water cooled and then 5 megawatts that's all air cooled.
Okay.
So once we heard the water situation, we had to pivot off that and go to address this.
So during phase 1, while it's still using air cooled and water cooling, how loud is that going to be?
We don't know.
Okay.
I mean, it's just like your condensers at any commercial building or something. I mean, we'll do some tests and get back to it.
Okay, thank you.
You know, just to clarify that, there's no fans in the servers. As in before, which was currently running, all the servers had multiple fans in there. You had thousands of fans running. Those are all going away. So, yeah. So if deductive reasoning would say it's gonna be substantially less, which Lisa clarified with our other facility.
Substantially less than the Bitcoin operation.
Yes.
Okay, I do want to just sort of, again, thank the DigiHost representatives, DigiPower, I'm so sorry. I will get my new job down eventually. I'm so sorry. I want to thank them for coming in. They didn't have to. They've done this as a courtesy at my request. This is the third time that they've come in to answer questions that we have. First, it was just myself and the department heads, all of the city staff that this would affect, water, sewer, licensing. And I think we had a 2-hour meeting, and I asked the same questions. I grilled them, so I don't want everyone to think that this group of people hasn't done their due diligence, because we truly, truly have. They were also kind enough to come in about a month later for a work session with our city council and those same department heads, again, for our council people to be able to ask their questions. So they have been very transparent with us, and then they were kind enough to come in for this meeting. So I hope that you leave this meeting with more knowledge about data centers, about what's going to be here in our community. That's the point of this. Unfortunately, this is the world that we live in, and AI is here. Data centers are going to be in communities, and where this one is appropriate, and we don't want it to be right slap dab in the middle of a subdivision. I do know that it's close to our middle school, and we're going to do everything in our power to make sure the safety of our students is a priority. We're going to make sure the fire protection is there. I promise you that as city representatives, we all have the city's best interest at heart. So I hope that you feel that from us. I hope that you know that from us. And we are all here to answer questions beyond tonight. So if you think of other questions, email us, call us. Things may pop up in the middle of the night that you think of randomly, or maybe that's just me, I don't know. But this is the beginning of the conversations that we're having for the town hall and for the public. So, please know that our doors are open, our phones are always on, and we want to hear from you. That is the biggest, I think that's the biggest negative that I take away from this, is that this was never communicated to anyone in the community, and we're trying to start that now. We're having the conversations, we're here, and they're here to have that. So I do want to thank them for coming. I know it hasn't been easy for them, and it hasn't been easy for any of us. We've all really been trying very hard to learn all things data centers, and it's a lot, and it's very overwhelming. So if any of you guys want to stay after, we have pictures back there of the site. We will kind of stay around for just a few minutes, but I'm going to just kind of close the town hall at this time if there's no more comments. I thank you all for coming. I think it's vital to our town to be engaged in what's happening, and I appreciate each and every one of you for doing that. Thank you.